Welcome back to Crawford-Clark Close-Up's first Halloween horror season. Over the last 31 days we've been looking at some classic horror, from Rosemary's Baby to The Exorcist, with some modern hits thrown in for good measure, including this year's chilling Hereditary. Over the last two videos we've been retrospectively looking at the Halloween film series and reviewing all 10 films. Now, on Halloween 2018, we aptly come to our thoughts on the 11th film in the series, or technically second, as the filmmakers have decided to retcon all the sequels to John Carpenter's original, and best, to give us a direct sequel 40 years on. This is an ambitious undertaking, and in large part the film is a roaring success, recapturing the spirit of the boogeyman and returning Jamie Lee Curtis to the screen as we pick up 40 years on from the original Halloween night to find an alcoholic, reclusive and deeply paranoid middle-aged Laurie, a mother and grandmother, ostracised from her family due to this paranoia. It's a mature fleshing out of this character, Laurie being less the victim, more Sarah Connor-esque avenger of evil. After a strong start involving two reporters trying to goad an incarcerated middle-aged Michael in Smith's Grove Sanitarium with his old mask, we launch into the titles with a deflated pumpkin re-inflating, an excellent metaphor for what the filmmakers are trying to do with this series that's seen its fair share of plodding sequels over the years. So far, it's impressive. What becomes infuriating, sadly, is the water that the movie treads from here on out. We have some excellent characters and individual scenes, but the film as a whole doesn't really gel. The person most to blame? The film's screenwriter, Danny McBride, who litters the script with incongruous, utterly banal dialogue for secondary characters to spout about sandwiches and peanut butter that take you out of the immediacy of the action. James Jude Courtney, and in some excellent select shots, the original Shape actor Nick Castle, have resurrected Michael Myers beautifully. This man is a killing machine on a vengeful rampage for being captured, taunted and monitored for 40 years. But the film is less about Myers and his inventive kills than it is about our protagonist, Laurie Strode. Once again, no one will listen to Laurie's protest that Michael will return to Haddonfield, not even her family, until it's almost too late. The difference in this modern update is that Laurie has been preparing for this night ever since she survived her first run-in with Michael nearly half a century earlier. She has a cellar stocked with supplies and weapons should an attack be imminent. Her home is well defended, but ultimately she's alone. It's in the quieter, reflective moments of the film, including a scene where a struggling Laurie breaks down in front of her less than sympathetic family, that this film really shines. Director David Gordon Green has given free rein to Jamie Lee Curtis to explore this character she made her own at the start of her career, and it's a pleasure to watch. This is probably Jamie Lee's best screen work to date in an expansive, multi-genre delving career. John Carpenter returns with his son to compose the soundtrack, and it's both reflective and intimidating, soft and loud when it needs to be, evoking the original but also updating it to reflect modern times. Ultimately, a ridiculous character decision in the third act and some lazy screenwriting aside, this is an engaging, thought-provoking 11th film in an oftentimes flagging horror series, which proves that Myers is still the ultimate boogeyman. It certainly doesn't top the original, but then nothing likely ever will. But it does a grand job of exploring deeper characterization and gives us a fairly final finale for the series. From Crawford-Clark Close-Up.
Take a chance on me.
Sorry. So, those are our thoughts on Halloween 2018. Have you seen the film yet? How do you think it fares in the context of the rest of the series? Do you think it's a solid, direct sequel to Carpenter's seminal classic? Be sure to stay tuned for the final video in our first Halloween horror season, coming later today this Halloween, for our ranking of all 11 films in the 40-year Halloween series. If you like this review, then please subscribe to Crawford-Clark Close-Up for more regular reviews of old and new releases. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can send us an email with suggestions for the channel, crawfordclarkcloseup@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and until next time, that's a wrap.